Hello everyone, I'm back to work in my junk journal this week. These are the tags and bits and pieces that I made last week from packaging. So those are the clothes tags. Of course, these are the Earl Grey tea bags that I altered. This was just a pocket that a receipt came in, and these were panels off a box of aftershave. So that's what I made. Now I received a lot of comments about the elastic hairband closure that I used for my journal, because I didn't show how I made this. It was just made using one of these elastic hair bands. I picked these up in a pack, I don't know how many, 10 or so, from the pound shop, and all I did was I chopped the metal closure that's holding the elastic band together, wrapped it round my signature. I've just got one signature in this journal, and then just tied it in a knot, and it was as simple as that. I just thought that the yellow went really well with the ticket that I've used here and the breast of the bird. Now I was planning on perhaps adding some bead dangles to the bottom of my elastic, but somebody suggested using the flowers from the trim that I used here, and I actually think that's quite a good idea, because it's not going to be too heavy or too bulky. So here's another piece of that trim. I'm just going to cut a couple of the flowers off, and I think I'm just going to glue these down to the elastic like that with some Fabri-Tac, and that will just hide those ends and just tidy it up a bit. So if I just grab my 3-in-1, let's just hope that this isn't clogged at the end. Which way round does this go again? Let me have a look. And I'm just going to add a small blob of glue to the centre of the flower. Here we go, it's not clogged this time. I'll do it on both sides, so just a small blob like that. And I'm just going to pop that over the end of the tie, the elastic closure there, and then I'm just going to grab where have they gone, one of these bulldog clips, just to hold that down for a minute or two until it grabs. So I'll do exactly the same with the other side here. So I'm just going to leave the bulldog clips on the ends for the time being until that glue is dry. Now I've decided that the first project I want to work on is this little card that I made here. For those of you that saw the video last week, just a reminder, the piece of paper here was just something that I got either in Happy Mail or with a purchase online, I can't remember, and I glued it to a piece of aftershave packaging. I love that. It already had gold around the edges, but I've also found this piece of packaging as well. This had some butterfly stickers in it, and I just think this goes absolutely beautifully. I just really like that, and so what I want to do is just try and find a place where I might like to put this, and I'm thinking here, for the reason being that I just think the background in this paper goes really well with the bird. So let's just have a quick flick through and see if there's anywhere else where it might be able to go. You see, that's too white. That's a bit too yellow. You see, that's quite nice as well, because that's picking out the orange in the centre of the flowers. So that's maybe a possibility, but no, I don't know. I just think that, where's it gone? This page here is just a bit more subtle and just matches perfectly. Now I'm just thinking the pink here is just a bit too much. So I thought that I could maybe just add a piece of this music paper. This came in a book that I picked up in the charity shop for £5. It's leather bound. It's just beautiful. So I thought that I could use up all the paper and then maybe do something with the book cover itself. Just look at that embossed filigree pattern on the front. It's just gorgeous. And so I'm thinking that I can maybe mount that on a piece of this music paper, just to break the pattern up a bit. I'm just going to try and find the right spot for it to go. So I'm just going to trim a piece of this with my paper trimmer, and then I'll be back. So I've trimmed my piece of music paper, together, and I just think that that ties those two pages together really nicely. It also breaks the background up, which might be just a bit busy as it is. I don't know. I think I like the fact that that ties those two pages together. What I do want to do is round the corners though. So I've grabbed two different sizes of corner punches. These are my X-cut ones. I'm going to use the larger one to do the largest sheet here. So we'll just punch around the edge. Now I know that I've got the word butterfly, and of course I've got these marks here. That's fine. We can deal with that. Where's the smaller one? This is the smaller one. So we'll just round the corners on this too, and then I'm going to ink around the edges of both of these using my Memento ink in Espresso Truffle. So I've just got a sponge here, and as soon as I've done that, I'll be straight back. I've inked around the edges now of both of these pieces, and that's just framed them both, and I think personally that looks much better. I'm going to add some Fabri-Tac to the back of this. I'm using, well, in fact this is 3-in-1. It's exactly the same stuff as Fabri-Tac. Oh, hang on, let me just grab my pin. The end needs unclogging. There we go. Just because this is slightly plasticized on the back, and I'm not sure how well a glue stick would work. So I just think that acetone glue, well, it is. Acetone glue is much stronger. So we'll add just a bit of that around the edges and to the center. Let's just pop the lid back on for a second and glue this down. I'm just going to stand up for that. I want to cover the word sticker and then centralize it. So there we go. That looks about right to me. Let's just use one of these hotel room key cards just to smooth it out. Then I need something to get rid of that writing at the bottom, and I've got this word here, and so the adventure begins. And so I'm going to glue that on there like that. Again, I'm just going to ink around the edges using my Memento ink, and then again I'll stick that down with a little bit of 3-in-1. And then, of course, we need to add some butterflies, because at the moment we've only got birds and flowers, and so the word butterfly at the top at the moment doesn't really make any sense. But you know, we can deal with that. So add a touch of 3-in-1 there and stick this on. Let's try and centralize that as best as I can. That's about right. So of course that's got rid of the problem wording that we had at the bottom. Whilst my lid is off my glue, I'm going to stick this down as well, and then I need to go and rummage through my stash and find some butterflies and see what I can find to add to this really pretty card here. So let's stick that on again, try my hardest to centralize it. About there, that will do. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. And let me just go and find a butterfly. Pulled out a couple of vellum butterflies that I think are the right size. Now that one there just gets completely lost, although the colour is just absolutely perfect. But I've also got this indigo one as well. And again, it just matches really well with the bluey sort of indigo purple in the background. And I think I like that just there. I toyed with the idea of adding them both, but seeing as this says butterfly, I just think that one is more appropriate. So I'm just going to peel this off. Oh, here we go. I'm going to struggle with this. Somebody gave me a great tip last week and said that if you add sellotape to the front and the back in the same way that you would with a napkin, it's a really easy way of peeling your stickers. But of course, I'm going to struggle stupidly. Get there in the end. And so I just think that I want to have that over this pink flower here like that. I just love that. And there we go, butterfly. So now it all ties it all together. So bring back my journal. Let me put that butterfly somewhere safe so that I don't lose it. It was this page here, wasn't it, that I wanted it to go on. Now, I'm not sure whether I want something else in the background or just want to leave it quite simple like that. I don't know. Right, I've come to a decision. I've taken my signature out of the book because, of course, it's tied in with elastic. It means that I can remove the pages if I want to, just because it makes it easier to work on them. And you can see already that I've started inking around this with some Memento ink. I'd already inked, but I think it was using vintage photo or frayed burlap, and I just think it looks better with a darker frame. I'm just doing the one side because, of course, I don't know what eventually I'll end up doing on the other side. So let's just do this for starters. There we go, that's better. And then I've decided that I want to add some music notes because I think it will be in keeping with the music paper that I've got in the background. Now I've got 2 stamps with music notes on. Which way? That one goes that way up. Now this, I just think the bars are just too wide apart. I've also got this one here that I think is one that I got from the range here in the UK. And again, let's have a look and see. These are always really difficult to see which way up they go. I think I like this section of it here. Let me just get a piece of white paper or something. So that's not going to help. Let me just find a piece of white paper so that you can see. That's better. So I think it's this section here that I like. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on. So I'm going to use my Memento ink again, and I just want this to be quite random stamping. I'm not bothered about it being a complete impression. I do want to try and get that treble clef in though. So let's just do this, and I think I want it, where do I want that to go? So it will be in the top left hand corner like this. Let's try and get that treble clef in. You see, that looks so much better, and I think I'll do exactly the same down in the bottom right hand corner as well. Or do I want some script stamping? No, I'm going to stick with the music notes, just so that it doesn't get too busy. So stamp this on. This is a really silly mini ink pad here. I love the colour, but I must see if I can get a larger one. I've had it for so long anyway that the ink is probably starting to run out anyway. So I want that down in the bottom right hand corner. Stamp that down. There we go. And I think that should just add enough interest. There we go, that just looks so much better. And I'm just wondering whether I want a little bit of random stamping here and there, or is that enough? I think I'll look through it through the camera first. No, I've decided that I'm going to add a bit more stamping using this part of the stamp here instead. Just be really random about it. Here we are, and we can maybe add some at the top here as well. Again, doesn't have to be perfect in any way. And so I'm just going to keep playing with this until I'm happy with the way that it looks. That has just made all the difference in my opinion. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to leave it there. I've got my 3-in-1 again, and I'm just going to glue this down. Of course, the red double-sided sticky tape, which is really strong, is also absolutely perfect for sticking things like this down. It's what I always used to use when I was doing my other art journals. It's just that, I don't know, I always seem to have either 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac to hand these days. And so let's just have a look and see where that needs to go. So that is my first page done. Really happy with that. And of course, I've been able to take the bulldog clips off my little embellishments on the end of my tassels. And I'm thinking actually that I might add a flat back pearl to each of these. So that's the first page finished. Now, as far as the other side of the page is concerned, I want to keep the pink theme going. Let me just make sure that that's glued down. I ought to weight that down with something really. I've got this piece of wallpaper here This is just a wallpaper sample that had a tag already on it. And again, I'm going to round the corners. Now, do I want my wide or my small punch? I think I want the small one. Just because this tag is quite narrow, so I'm just going to round the edges like that. I just think that the colours go really well with that already. This is another piece of the same wallpaper sample, and it's got rip-rack and pieces of lace and fabric on it, and I'm just going to fussy cut these out. So I'm just going to go all the way around this and just see if I can embellish my page a little bit more. So I've cut the pieces of rickrack and ribbon out, and I think I'm going to place them something like this now. I just really like the layered look, and I'm just wondering if I can have all three of these on here somehow without it looking too busy. Perhaps something like that. But what I do want to do first, in fact, I think I prefer to have that there maybe, and then that tucked underneath, and yeah, like that, I think. And so I'm going to ink around the edges of all of these and glue them down. Now I've inked around the edges, and I just think this is going to be a little bit tricky to glue down, and so what I'm going to do is just use my glue stick just to put a small amount of glue just on the edge here like this, so that I can just stick my rickrack down. In fact, let's turn it over to do that, so it doesn't really matter which way round it goes. So we can just have that on the end. There we go. Here comes Louis. So we'll just make sure that that's firmly in place like that. Yeah, this is definitely an easier way to do it. And then let me just press that down like that. And then I think I want this little piece of polka dot to go there, and then this lace one poking out somewhere behind it. So again, I'm just going to add a bit of glue here like this, pop my polka dot down. Want as much of that poking out as is possible, and then again, how do I want it to go next? So I want my lace pretty much like that. So I'm just going to play around with this. So that's all glued down, and I'm happy with that. And I don't know whether you can see, but there's some shading on the heart, and I just want to add a little bit more as well. So I've got my Stabilo All pencil, and I'm just going to follow the shading that's already there like this, just to try and make it pop and bring it into the foreground. And I'm going to smudge that with my finger. I want to smudge it over the grey as well. So we'll give this a good old smudge. We can do the same here like this. In fact, what I might be better off using is a blending stump. Here we go. I've got a blending stump. That's better. That's just easier to use on this plasticized paper. So we can sort of blend that out, smudge it out. I think I want a little bit going up there as well. There we are. And then maybe just a little bit around here too, but not too much on the left hand side, just enough just to define it against that striped border. And I just really like how that looks. So to me, the shading has made a really big difference. So that's going to go there, something like that. I've also got some more pieces of that wallpaper sample. It was like a patchwork quilt, and it also had the words love that were in tiles like this, and I fussy cut them out. I do think I'm going to round the edges as well. So love will go there, because of course next week week it's Valentine's Day, isn't it? I've also got a flower as well that I thought might go on there. So I'm just going to fussy cut this out as well, and then we'll try and assemble this beautiful page. I think around the edges of all the individual components, and this is how I think I want to lay them out. So you can see I've used my corner rounder again just to go round the word love. That's bugging me there. I've got a point and I don't like it, so let's just do something about that. You know, they're not perfect, and that's absolutely fine. And then I've got my bird. Where's my flower? My flower's going to go on there about there, just to cover up this piece of gingham in the left hand corner. So I'm just going to glue these down. I'm going to start off by gluing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll use glue stick, I think, because I've got nothing shiny here, so there's no reason why I can't use my glue stick to glue these down, and then I can get right to the very edges. So we'll just go over all of this. Am I in camera? Just about. So just using my handy dandy glue stick. And then I'll glue all the bits and bobs down, and then we can add some finishing touches. It's funny because now that I've got this flower cut out here, I don't like it. It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't like the way that it looks. So I'm going to park that for the time being. What I do want to do, whoops daisy, where's it gone, is make a little bow out of a piece of this string here. So I'm going to try and tie this in a knot. How do I want to do this? Right, like that. Here we go. So there we are. And then pull that one down. Let's fiddle around with this. And then I want that just to go there like that. So I'm just going to trim these strings, pull that through just a little bit, just to make the loops just a bit smaller, and then I can glue that on with a touch of Fabri-Tac. I think I'm happy with that. I might fray these ends as well, so that's just adding a bit more texture. And then I found these little lace bits here. So I've got this lace doily, and I'm thinking I can have that there with another one of these flowers on top, and that was the same little flower that I used for the tag last week. These come on a string, by the way. Absolutely gorgeous. I can't remember where on earth I got these from. I have a feeling that it was in Leeds Market when I went up to see our son one weekend. So I'm going to glue that on there like that. I've also got one of the Tim Holtz. Now what are they called? Tim Holtz Ideology word bands, and I quite like that there as well, because of course I've got so much bulk on this page anyway. A little bit more won't matter, so I'm thinking I'll have that just there, which I will pin on with some brads, and then I'm thinking just to finish things off I could have a little butterfly just to tie again the two pages together, and I just love the way that looks. So I think I'm going to go off camera and glue everything down. So everything is glued down apart from this little embellishment here, and I just want to show you how I'm planning on doing that. I'm going to stick it down with a touch of Fabri-Tac to start off with. I don't need much, that's just to hold it in place, and I want that to go there, centralised between these music lines here. And I'm going to weight that down for just a minute or two. And then I've got some brads here. And I'm just going to poke these through. I'll use my pokey tool just to make the holes. You can see that I've taken my page out of the signature. So I'm going to poke a couple of holes. I am going to wait just until that's glued down before I do it, because I don't want it to move. So I'm going to carefully poke through here. You can see that I'm holding my page underneath just so that I don't ruin the page underneath it. And then I just want to ink around the page with some more of the Memento ink as well. It's glued down now, just enough for me to fiddle around with it. So I'm just going to place my brad there. and then just open it out at the back. So I'm just pulling it just to make sure that that's nice and tight. There we go. Now I know that I've got bulk, but this isn't adding any more bulk than the flower that the embellishment that I've just put down. I am going to have to be careful though in this journal going forward, otherwise it's going to be a right old chunky monkey, just like the last one. I don't mind that, to be honest. So there we go. So I'm going to have to do something with the back of this page to obviously cover these up, but that is just so pretty to me. I just love it, and I love how these letters are wonky as well. So that's the first spread in my new junk journal. I love that spread. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's so pretty, and I love the fact that I've been able to go with a Valentine's theme. This says here, know in your heart you are loved, by the way. Really like that, and it just seemed appropriate for this week. Now I've pulled out a little sticky back, flat back pearl. What do you think, guys? Do I add some pearls on there or not? I can't decide. That's not glued down permanently. I'll let you decide. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So here we are. I've ended up adding the flat back pearls to the front and the back of these, and actually I really like that. I think that looks cute. So let me show you my first double page spread. I love it. I'm really happy with that. The quote here says, know in your heart you are loved. I just think that's really sweet. And so that's it for anybody that is thinking about trying a usual scraps junk journal. Let me just tell you, the first page actually is the hardest. I found this in the journal I did last year, and once you've got that first layout down, I don't know, the rest of it just seems to flow, or at least last year it did for me, and I just have exactly the same feeling with this journal again this year. So I am really excited about filling the rest of these lovely pages. So I hope you enjoyed following along with me this week. If anybody wants to take part, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium, in the description box below. But if you enjoyed today's video, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and take care, everyone. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.